Hi friends, it's Sharon from Mad Paper Crush. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a fun little project that just has, I think, adorable results. We're going to be making little tags here with some collage on an acetate front, and then they have a cardstock back, and we added some little decorations and things too. So this is another one that I did. So there's cardstock on the back, and it has this fun acetate front to it that we're going to put things together. And you could even make, a journaling spot under here. You could make this a pocket or anything you want there. So let's go ahead and get started on this fun little fairy acetate tag. All right, let's talk about some tools and supplies. So I am going to be using you can use, whatever background paper you want. This is one of the digitals that I'm working on right now. And I want it on cardstock. So you want to use something that's sturdy for our base. And then the top, of course, is going to be acetate here. And this is, it's not real thick, which is why we want the cardstock in the back. So I have the acetate there as well. And then a bunch of little, bits of paper and things for collage. So whatever you want there. This one I'm going to be using this cute little flower fairy from one of the flower fairy books. And then I also grabbed some washi tape. So this is washi tape that's in my shop. I found a couple pieces that I thought might be fun with this, and we'll have to see what I'm going to use. But I've printed this on clear sticker tape, so it makes it, kind of a fun clear washi that we can put on the acetate or even on the background if we wanted to. And then also some fabrics, either to go on your collage or to use for, the top of the tag or something. I just picked out a bunch that I thought would look nice with my little flower fairy there that will, kind of piece together as we go. And then also, your favorite collage glues, whatever you want to use there. Paper cutter, got to have your paper cutter to make our tag in the beginning. I'm going to be using my Crop-A-Dile because I'm going to be putting in an eyelet in the top of the tag. So if you want to do that, you can do eyelets too. If you just want to use a hole punch and some paper reinforcements, you could do that, as well. So, and I'm also going to be sewing a little bit here. So you could certainly use glue if you wanted to, but I think the sewing adds a nice little touch on top of the acetate. Oh, and the other thing is some paint. So I'm going to be outlining the edges of the tag, the top tag, the acetate piece with some paint. And I think that gives it a nice little pop. So if you would like to get some paint together, you can do that too. All right, let's get going. All right, first we're going to cut our tag pieces. And I find that to keep them, matching the same exact size, it's easiest to cut them together. So I'm just lining up the acetate on top of my cardstock where I want to cut the tag out. So you can cut this any size you want. I think I'm going to do this one 3.5 by about 5. I'll have to see where I'm at because I want something fairly plain on the tag. So because I hold this upside down, I think I hold my cutter upside down compared to a lot of people. I'm just going to cut this to get my 3.5 inches. I'm going to cut it down from this side at 7.5 so that I have my 3.5 over here where I want the tag to be. So once I've had that done, then I have to do my, the length here. So I think I'm going to go about 5, and it looks like, because I don't want to get this rose on there. So maybe 5.5 would be, yep, actually that'll work out good. So I'm going to do 3.5 by 5.5 so that I can use this for something else later if I want to. And now I have my tag cut down, and my acetate is just exactly the same size. So the next thing I'm going to do, you can just cut off, corners as you like. I like to use a little bit of a guide. So I'm just grabbing a tag that I have, and I'm going to cut out my little side notches here for my tag. So just like that. And then I'm going to do the other side as well so that they match. And now we have a tag that's starting to look like a tag. Okay, now that we have our tag cut out, now we can do a little bit of planning with it. So we can decide, you know, what goes where. So you can put as much or as little on as you want, obviously. I think the cool thing about this is that even, you know, as you add things to the background, they're not really, you know, truly covered up, which I think is fun. So I went ahead and grabbed some scrap music paper and some dictionary page. I've got my washi tapes here. I have this little stamp that I think I'm going to just kind of fussy cut out a little bit. I think that might be fun on here. And then we'll just sort of plan out where we want everything to go. And then we'll start piecing the whole thing together. So I definitely want my little flower fairy here on the front of my tag so that she'll lift up and you can see what's, you know, underneath there. And I think I'm going to, I'm not sure where I'm going to put that since this kind of does seem to blend in a little bit. Maybe I'll look at some other stickers that I have, but I thought some music might be fun on the background. Let's see. Might be fun to do. Let's see if we have any good words here that I grabbed out now. Sometimes, you know, you grab a dictionary page and it has a good word on it. Sometimes it has not good words on it. So it's always good to, you know, just look around and see what you got going. So yeah, I already like that. So I like our flower fairy on the top here. I like that music underneath there somewhere. I love this clear washi tape, and I think this will be fun on the clear acetate as well. So I'm just going to pick a piece that I might like here. I was thinking these little red stamps might be fun because they might show up a little bit. But then I was also thinking this little green leaf here might be fun too. And this has some extra words in it, but there's already a lot going on in the background. So maybe we'll stick with this, just these sort of red stamps and stuff. So I'm gonna cut it over here for a second, just to kind of give myself an idea of what I want to do. And that, now remember, when we peel this off, it's going to be see-through. I realized I had it upside down, and that might look really fun on top of the music, because you'll be able to see the music, you know, coming through that. So I think maybe that's what we'll do. So I'm going to cut this off here. So I have both of them, and I may also just cut this down so it's a little skinnier. And I'm gonna obviously need to make it a little shorter too. So we'll take this piece off here because I don't want it to go past the ends. And I have found doing this that you definitely need to, when you put it down, you got to have it where you want it. So this is very sticky, and on the acetate, it makes it even harder to pull things off. So I'm just grabbing my Distress ink here because I want to be sure I have my pieces distressed before I put them down. And actually, I'm going to do the same thing with my music paper here. I think I had that upside down. I don't know. I've never been able to read music, so I don't know. I think it goes this way. You're probably all yelling at me through the through the screen which way it goes. Okay, but I like that. And then, oops, I forgot to, this has some little white edges on this little guy. And I kind of like the contrast of the words and the music paper here because it's a little bit lighter than what I'm working with. So I think I might just, I don't know if I'm going to use this yet, but I'll just distress it up and we can decide. Because I think I want to keep this, the top part pretty simple. Like I don't want to put too much on there, but I'm still thinking there might, you know, be something that you need on the back. Maybe. Maybe not. Oh, I kind of like that. Actually, that might be just about perfect. I do need to put this somewhere. We don't have to. I like these two on the top. And then maybe this underneath with this. And this would be fun too to make a little pocket on here or something. I think that would be a lot of fun. So let's see how that looks. Obviously we'll need to make sure that's not falling off. And then I want to be sure I leave some room at the top to put our eyelet in when we get to that point. I can move that down a little bit. I think that's coming together nicely. And then I am going to put this on under her feet right here. So I'm going to, all right, so this is going to be our top piece, and this is going to be our bottom piece. And I think I need to, I just realized that this is a little bit too big here. So I'm going to tear off just a little bit here to make sure it fits on my tag right. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and glue some of these down. And actually, I may do, let's see. This is going to be here, but on top, just, actually, I think I like that better, that sticker down at the bottom, because then it's, I don't know, it just seems to balance things a little bit better there. Yeah, I think I like that. And then we're going to put this on beneath her feet. So let me glue the bottom pieces down first. And I think I'm going to use my glue stick here. Oop. Make sure I don't glue that acetate prematurely here. Okay. And glue this guy down too while we're at it. And that's all you need on the bottom. If you have a nice decorative piece of paper, you could obviously do more if you wanted to do more. Okay, so now I'm going to take her off for a minute because I want to put my washi tape underneath her feet. So I'm going to put this down here, just making sure I have this right. And like I said, for whatever reason, this, I'm sure there's some sort of science behind it, but you need to be sure you're putting that tape down right where you want it, because it's going to be tough to remove. And so see how it's clear and you can see the music page underneath there. I love that. I love the way that looks. Okay, so that's there. And we'll have her here and this like this. Now I am going to sew her and the stamp on here, but I'm going to be careful not to go across her face. So probably what I'll try to do is I will do kind of a loose edge stitch. So I'll, you know, come across the flowers and across her wings maybe, and then just up here to be sure I don't, you know, go across her face there. So, and then I'm going to, you know, make sure I get the stamp in there as well. So I'm going to go sew that and we'll show you what that looks like. One more quick thing before I go sew. I am just going to take a little bit of my glue stick and just right in the middle of these pieces, I'm going to tack them down so that they don't move on me. So you know, I don't even know if my sewing machine will go through where I put that, but I do just want a teeny tiny little bit of glue so that when I put it on my sewing machine, I won't, you know, everything won't be sliding around and stuff. So I may give that just a second to set a little bit, and then I will go do the sewing. All right, I had a complete change of heart. When I went over to the sewing machine and I was looking at it, I thought that she's so cute. I didn't want to really, do too much sewing over top of her. So all I did was two little kind of wavy stitches there. I mean, they're straight stitches, but I just moved it around a little bit across the bottom here, across the washi tape, and across the top, the flower and the stamp to kind of get everything together. So she will have loose little sides, but I kind of like that. You could, tuck something in there if you wanted to. And I have my long edges here. I may just trim down a couple of them so they're not so long, maybe, on either side or something like that. And take the, back one off here on both sides. Okay, so we have a couple of long edges because you know how I like those long stringy threads there, but I love the way this is coming together. Isn't that adorable? Okay, so now let's go ahead and get our eyelet put in. So I'm going to grab my crocodile and I'm going to do a basic mark on this, and I'm going to grab my, I think I have a little grease pencil here. So I'm just marking about the center because I'm going to obviously punch through both at the same time. And I'm using a bigger eyelet, so I'm going to use my 3/8 punch. Make sure they're together. Oop. And my crocodile doesn't, I don't know if the one side's not sharp anymore or something, but I constantly have like this little piece left over. So I have to try to gently cut it off or tear it off, but I don't want to rip my hole that I've just made. Oof. Let me see if I can use like this little thing. Let's see if this will work. That worked. This was a tool that I used for jewelry, but that cut that tag right off, which was good. That little leftover hole. Okay, so we got that going, and I'm using these eyelets that I like they have a little washer that goes on the back there, and I don't know, I just feel like it makes it a little more secure or something. So, and these are, because I don't think they're made for paper crafts, or they could be made for paper crafts. They're not made for the crocodile. Let's say that for sure. And actually, before I put these together, I have this in. I forgot some of the things we were going to do. So the first thing is I want to distress the edges of my background. And then the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to add our paint to the top. So I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay. So we got that distressed. And then for the paint, I'm going to move this stuff out of the way so I don't end up getting paint on things. But all I'm going to do for the paint is use my finger. I'm going to try and get my threads out of the way as I'm doing this. I may need to cut them off too, but let's see. See if I can. I'm going to try and hold them out of the way. And then what I'm going to do with my paint is I'm just going to use my finger, take a little bit of paint on my finger, and then just lightly go around the edge to give that just a little bit of green on there. And it's okay if it, you know, is a little thicker in spots or not. I kind of like that because then it looks, you know, looks more handmade. And just try to keep going back and grabbing a little bit more. And then you can go back around and decide if, you know, there are spots that need more, or, you know, you can wipe some off if you want to. Although I think this is, this process is easier if you want to put more on. It's harder if you want to take it off, because then you might end up, you know, kind of smearing it around, kind of like I just did there, even though I wasn't taking some off. Okay, so now I'm going to go wash my hand, and we're going to let this dry. I'm going to try and find, let's see, I have this little block here. What I'm going to do is put her right on top of there so my paint isn't touching anything. And we're going to let her dry for a couple of minutes, make sure she's good and dry before we start putting everything together. Okay, my paint is all dry now, and I hope that you can see how that looks. I don't have like some white. Here we go. So you can see the paint around the edges, and it gives it a nice little pop. I love how that looks. Okay, so now move that out of the way. Now what we can do is we can start putting the whole thing together. And since we have our hole at the top here, now I can take my eyelet and put it in there. And like I said, these have a little a washer to go on the back. And I probably need to cover this back. Maybe I'll just do some distressing. You can see I had written something there on that, but I will do that later. Okay, so I'm going to use my Crop-A-Dile here and just make sure I get that pressed in there. Okay. So now you can see, I love how that looks, that there's, you know, something on the first layer and something on the back layer, and everything shows through real nicely. Okay, so now I'm going to grab some of the scraps that I had pulled out, my fabric scraps, and we're going to see what we want to put through the top there. Let me move these little stringies out of the way. All right, I have this little brown piece, which I kind of like, actually, and maybe I will add in some of this muslin here. And since I like torn fabric so much, got pieces all over the place here, stringers, I'm going to go ahead and tear maybe about 1/2 inch from this one, because I think it'll look nice to have the two different fabrics together. So I'm going to pull off some of those ends there. And I may even use some of this, because I like the way this looks with the fairy there. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of put these together and see if I can create a little loop here. Hopefully I got them both through there. And just when you're, if you're doing this, pull gently so you don't rip the eyelet out. We can see here, just need a little bit more pull. And I'm just trying to twist them around so that my pattern is showing more to the front instead of the back. There we go. I'm liking that. I think I'm going to grab my pinking shears here. Not sure. Hopefully these will work. Because I was thinking maybe just to add a little bit of fabric maybe coming off to the side here. I don't know. Let's take a look. I'm going to see if I can cut this straight. I'm never that great with pinking shears, but maybe it's because I don't use them enough. Okay, it looks a little uneven. That's all right. I was thinking maybe just to have this kind of sticking out on the side. Yeah, actually, I think I really like that. I like that a lot. Oh, sorry, dropping things all over the place. Okay, so I think I'm going to sew this on just to make it a little bit easier. Of course, it's not easier with this all put together, but I'm just going to hold this up and just do a little, maybe just a little zigzag stitch right here just to hold that on. So let me go get that done. All right, I sewed on my fabric on, and I really love sort of the little texture that gives and how it matches with the leaf really nicely there. I think that looks great. And then I also went ahead and covered the back of this. I just distressed around all of the edges and added some ledger paper with some more distress on the back there to make it, a place where you could journal or something like that on there. And the one last thing that I want to do, I'm going to grab this box here of my metals, all my different metal things, and I'm going to grab one of these bulb pins, and I have them in the same color as the eyelet, so that antique brass. And I found this little key, so I thought that would be really fun to add, and maybe even I might even add another piece of fabric along with that. Let me grab my things again. Let's see what I can do. Let's see what I can do here. So this was a sample piece of fabric, so it has like this paper on here. So I'm just trying to cut from below that. So I think I want this one to be a little bit longer if I can, so that it kind of goes down the length of the key that I'm using. Let's see. And then this end I'm cutting off since it's straight. And then maybe what I'll do is put this on first. And then we have a little matching piece of fabric to go along here. And then I'm just going to try to pin this to my little knot for my ribbons right there. And that's really not going the way I want it to go. There we go. And I think that looks adorable. All right, and there you have it. These beautiful little acetate tags that have a little fun in them that you can lift up and put some things underneath. I think they're so much fun. I hope that you enjoyed this video, friends. If you did, I'd love it if you'd give it a thumbs up. And I hope that you'll join me next week for another video. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.